Rapture is an iconic underwater city from Bioshock, dreamt and made by Andrew Ryan. Today, we're diving deep into the question, could Rapture in real life exist? There's a debate on how deep Rapture actually is. According to the game, it's way down at 2000 meters. Others say it's far less, sitting around 300 meters, based on several factors like environment and technical knowledge of that time. For example, at 2000 meter deep, the pressure is so high it would crush any reinforced glass with a crack. Meanwhile, this crack only results leakage. So I'm gonna go with the 300 meter one because it's more realistic. Let's start with the basics. Rapture's location is specified as 300 meters, about 1000 feet below the surface of the ocean. At this depth, we're entering what's known as the mesopelagic zone, or the twilight zone of the ocean. This is the area where light begins to fade and it's dark and cold. The pressure. At 300 meters deep, the pressure of the water is roughly 30 times greater than at the surface. For comparison, imagine a weight equivalent to a small motorcycle pressing down on every square inch of your body. Now let's think about Rapture. A massive city made of steel and glass. Would it survive that kind of pressure? Maybe. Building a city that deep would require cutting-edge technology, stronger materials, and careful planning. Engineers would need to construct thick, reinforced walls, possibly using materials like high-strength steel alloys or advanced composites to withstand the crushing pressure. Submersible vessels have already been designed to survive these conditions, so it's technically possible, but it would be a monumental challenge to create such a structure on a massive scale. Oxygen and life support systems. Now let's talk about the most crucial element for any city, oxygen. At 300 meters underwater, the air we breathe doesn't just come from the surface. The city would need an advanced life support system that continuously supplies breathable air. Oxygen could be produced through processes like electrolysis, where water is split into hydrogen and oxygen, but it needs a lot of energy. Or, as we've seen in Bioshock, with photosynthesis. The problem with this is the air that we breathe contains nitrogen up to 78%. So we need a system for that too. Let's say we don't store or get nitrogen from the surface. While there are methods like extracting nitrogen from seawater, with current technology, it's not realistic for the size of a city. Not only that, but the city would need to deal with the CO2 buildup from the population's breathing, which could be solved using CO2 scrubbers, like those found in space station or submarines. These technologies already exist, but scaling them for an entire city would require massive infrastructure, power and energy. Now how does Rapture power itself? Deep down in the ocean, there's a lot of untapped energy. One of the most promising options would be tidal energy, harnessed from the constant movement of the water. Large underwater turbines could be installed to generate electricity. Alternatively, nuclear power could be a possibility, just like Bioshock's own in-game reactor. The idea of using a compact nuclear reactor to generate power is not far-fetched. In fact, nuclear reactors are already used in submarines, which operate at similar depths. Structural challenges and environmental concerns. But it's not just about the living conditions. The ocean is an unpredictable place. Storms, earthquakes, and even tsunamis could cause major damage to a city that's built beneath the waves. In fact, the constant battering from waves could slowly erode or damage a city over time. To combat this, Rapture would need incredibly durable foundations and protection from extreme conditions. Isolation and resources. Rapture is isolated, cut off from the world above. This brings up another key question. How would it survive? Could the city sustain itself without external supplies? In Bioshock, Rapture relies on advanced technology and resources that are not readily available. In reality, an underwater city would need a self-sustaining ecosystem. It would have to grow food, recycle waste, and handle the disposal of materials. This is something that's been considered for real-life underwater habitats, but scaling it up to a city would require immense resources and innovation. psychological and sociological factors. And then there's the human factor. Living in such an isolated environment could have serious psychological effects. Humans aren't naturally built for the intense isolation of being underwater, and prolonged exposure could lead to depression, anxiety, or even madness. It's hard to imagine a thriving society existing in a place like this for long without major social issues. Add to that the claustrophobic environment, the darkness, and the cold, and you've got a recipe for a very difficult existence. It would be a constant battle to maintain a sense of normalcy. So, could Rapture exist? In theory, yes. With the right technology, materials, and infrastructure, a city could be built 300 meters below the surface. The real challenge lies in creating a self-sustaining, safe, and livable environment in such extreme conditions. Realistically, with current technologies, it would be pretty fragile and not strong enough to withstand a lot of potential dangers. What do you think? Could humanity one day build a real-life version of Rapture? Let me know in the comments below. And see you next time.